Well, here's a video I didn't think I'd have to make, and quite frankly, do not want to make, but people are just very disappointing. Hello guys, welcome back to the channel Football Therapy. I want to discuss these comments, or these threats made to the Chelsea manager Graham Potter, and indeed his family, his children. It's disgusting, abhorrent, deeply upsetting, and disappointing. I know there's, in football fans, there is some bad people, but when it's your own club, you just feel a sort of level of shame and a great deal of sympathy for the victim who endures. Whether it doesn't matter what your opinion is on someone in football in terms of if you think they're appropriate for your club, whether it's player or manager, these are human beings just trying to do their job. And no, it doesn't come with the territory. It's not part of the industry. They don't sign up for this. This is terrible stuff. So I want to talk about that, reflect on that for a bit. I also want to end on perhaps something a bit more positive. The interview of Enzo Fernandez, published by Matt Law on the Telegraph, where he speaks to Chelsea fans and basically says, trust Graham Potter. The players apparently do really like him, the manager. I like the manager. You know this, if you watch my content. I don't think he's necessarily definitely going to work out at Chelsea. I'm rooting for him. Because I back Chelsea managers and I support the manager and players. I feel like that's very important. There's clearly a long-term plan at Chelsea with the new ownership and the footballing hierarchy, the new infrastructure implemented into our club, which is something I, for a very long time, have been calling out for. And times do get hard. Times are hard at the moment, but you support your club. Right. Yeah, so, Matt Law, well, let's start off with Nazar Kinsella's article. Prior to that, even Fabrizio Romano's retweeting the front of the Mirror Sport. Fans told me they want me and my kids to die. Chelsea fans sending emails, messages saying they want Graham Potter and his children to die. Nazar Kinsella writes this. Graham Potter and his family received death threats following Chelsea's dismal run of form. The Blues boss has seen a sizable section of his club's fans turn, with the club stuck in 10th place. Chelsea's new owners privately continue to back Potter and are willing to give him time despite the disappointing run of form. Their patience comes in a moment where Potter was booed off the pitch after a recent defeat, the 1-0 against Southampton. Speaking ahead of the Premier League match away at Tottenham this weekend, Potter admits the death threats to him and his 3 children have been challenging mentally. He said, quote, "The world is tough for everybody. We're going through an energy crisis, a cost of living crisis. People are striking every other week. Things are difficult, so nobody wants to hear about the poor old Premier League manager. Nevertheless, you ask me a question about, is it hard? Is it tough? Is it nice to hear? As much as I've had support, I've had some not particularly nice emails come through that say they want me to die and they want my kids to die. So obviously that's not pleasant to receive. That's football, and that's how it is. And the challenge is for me, okay, how could I conduct myself? That's what I'd always turn to. The higher you go, the more pressure you have, how you are as a priest. This is an incredible man. Like I said, people think it was like a boring throwaway line that he had a master's degree in emotional intelligence and leadership. It's not nonsense. Some guys crack, some guys reflect aggressively, flick differently to this, but he's being measured, he's being, empathetic in this time, which is just absolutely incredible, really. He goes on to say, my message is that what you've got to take from the situation for what it is. Take the criticism, take the position that we are in, which that is, of course, should be better. Try to have a perspective, but at the same time, acknowledge the criticism and the bad feeling. That's how it should be. He goes to say, it's a challenge if you go to work and somebody is swearing abuse at you. It's not going to be pleasant. If you're referred as the worst person in the history of the club, you can say, oh, I don't care, but I'm lying. Everybody cares. what people think because we're hardwired to be socially connected. So there is an element of that. I want to succeed here, so it's nonsense, this notion that I don't care. So it's, okay, where does that come from, and where is your evidence of that? Ask my family, because the people have a perception that you don't care. How do you know? And I would ask you to ask my family how life has been for me and for them. It's not been pleasant at all. I understand that supporters go home and they're really annoyed because their team is not winning. But I assure you, my life for the past 3 months has been fairly average, apart from the fact I'm really grateful for this experience. So despite saying I've been abused and attacked verbally by scumbags, people don't understand, he's still grateful for the Chelsea experience, which he always has been. Look, he's here to do a job, and he believes in the job. He believes in the work. And he's clearly a very strong individual. And by the way, recognizing and acknowledging emotion is like, you know, a true demonstration of strength. That's why I said people were like, you know, people got annoyed with him that he wasn't getting angry in presses and getting wound up and emotional and all that kind of stuff, because honing your emotions is the real strength here. And you know, I'm not going to go wax lyrical about him, because you know, as a man I think he's excellent, and as a coach I think he's excellent, but again, I can't promise you it's going to work at Chelsea. But I want to give him a chance. The owners are really giving him a chance. Then I absolutely endorse it as well. And I absolutely know none of my viewers and my community that I've cultivated here on this YouTube channel, none of you would ever write terrible, abhorrent stuff to Graham Potter. So this isn't a message to you. I guess this is kind of like a therapy session for me, just putting it out there. It's so important to respect each other. And you know what's going to make Chelsea better? Support, and not abuse. Yeah. So Matt Law writes in The Telegraph, Enzo Fernandez's message to the Chelsea fans. There's been an interview done, and I wanted to read some of the quotes from Chelsea's record signing, the Argentina International World Cup winner. He says this: trust the players, trust the backroom staff, and trust the manager, he said. Never forget that we are representing you, and that we are trying to win games starting on Sunday. Then we can start to turn things around. Strong, powerful words from Enzo off the bat there, and it's a good point after hearing those abhorrent messages that the gaff is having, for him to come out and say that. Like, he's calling for support now. And he shouldn't have to do this, we should just support them. Having won the World Cup with Argentina and becoming the most expensive player in British football history, and after Chelsea signed him for just over a year. Oh, excuse me, this is Benfica, yeah, that's it. So I'm reading this backwards. Signed him from Benfica for just 106 million. For just over 106 million. Not just. My brain got scrambled there. I started reading 2 lines at once. So it's not just over, because just 106 million wouldn't sound right. Fernandez landed at Stamford Bridge in the eye of a storm, you could say that again. Despite some impressive personal performances, Fernandez is still yet to experience victory with Chelsea, and ahead of Sunday's trip to Tottenham Hotspur, head coach Graham Potter is on the fire from fans who was, he's booed off after the last game, the defeat against Southampton. He would say, Enzo said this: I would encourage the fans to be patient, who has started English lessons but communicated for a translator in Spanish for this interview. We have got a lot of new faces here, and it's a restructuring of the club and the playing staff. Trust us. The assured way which Fernandez, who's only just turned 22, holds himself is striking, and he is wholly believable when he insisted the enormous price tag will not weigh heavily. As the Chelsea insider put it, the kid's got spunk. The amount of money that paid has nothing to do with me. It's something I take really naturally. It's part of football, and my job is to go out on the field and give my best at all times. I am conscious of the faith Chelsea have shown in me, and I want to repay that. Describing his World Cup success with Argentina as a gift of God, Fernandez, who was asked by a translator to clear up whether or not he meant Lionel Messi or whether or not is the difference. The midfielder jokes, no, maybe not. I don't understand that. He's prepared for plenty of questions about Messi, and as an Argentine footballer must be an highlighted trait. His hero, his international teammate, and he hopes to display at Chelsea. So yeah, he's basically asked about Lionel Messi, and yes, what he can take from him. What can I take from my time with him, repeated Fernandez. Energy from the squad, from that dressing room, from all my Argentina teammates, because it was a special dressing room. Like, he goes on and talks in detail about Lionel Messi here from his World Cup success. Chelsea were the team that went all out to sign me. They showed interest in me via my agent in the period leading up to the World Cup. So that's important. People thought, well, we spoke about him being a very, very informed player, and he was quite a vogue player at Benfica before the World Cup, but many people didn't certainly didn't come into their footballing worlds until they watched the World Cup. So Chelsea were interested prior to the World Cup. So even before everything happened in the World Cup, Chelsea set their stall out and made the approach. He says this: "I'm very happy to have the confidence of a club like Chelsea. I know it's a club that traditionally have been fighting on all fronts to win cups, always involved in the final stages of the Champions League, and a club with a winning mentality. The project and the plans in place here really excited me. It's hard to remember this when you're losing games, but the truth is, the projects and the plans, we speak about it all the time on the channel. It is exciting. It's a long-term, exciting project. Now it's a case of being here, wanting to take Chelsea as far as they want to go, me along with all my teammates as well." Yeah, he is a very ambitious kid. Returning to the subject, he speaks a little bit more about the Premier League and stuff, but I want to read a little bit more towards the end here. Returning to the subject of why he and Chelsea's other January signings have not been able to immediately change the course of the club's season, Fernandez pointed out that it will take some time for relationships to be formed and for an understanding to be established. But there is one player Fernandez has instantly hit it off with and hopes will become his Chelsea teammate for beyond the end of this season, and he was asked about on loan João Felix. He says, "There's been a good connection. He called me straight away when I got here and asked if he could be any help. When you get on with someone off the field, it helps on the field. I have that special connection and relationship on the field too." He's a great player, isn't he? A fantastic player. He's got loads of ability and loads of qualities. He's a key player for us, an important player, and he's on loan. So let's hope that Chelsea can do all they can to keep hold of him come June. That would be great. Well, sorry I read that in a little fragmented style. Not my best, most cerebral reading here. I'm usually much better than that. But I guess I was just annoyed with the negative start to the video. But that is positive news. Enzo Fernandez talking about being excited with Chelsea, hoping to sign João Felix, and basically calling for the fans to back the players, to back the manager, and back the club, and dare I say that dirty word, back the process. So he's not going anywhere, so support. Or don't, do what you want. But, either way, don't abuse. That's all I ask. Thank you for joining me. Sorry it's not the most upbeat video ever, but I wanted to talk about it. And why not like and subscribe, eh? It's always good. Yeah, I'll see you guys after the Tottenham game tomorrow, and hopefully we have at least a performance to reflect on. Take care of yourselves. Peace.